Before integration comes disassembly. Before sovereignty comes forgetting. And before an oversoul can awaken, it must first fracture. This is phase 1 of the Oversoul Development System. It's called fractured remembering. And whether you know it or not, you've already lived through it. Let's start from the highest level. An oversoul is not a person. It's not your higher self. It is a multidimensional consciousness structure. A harmonized field of tones, experiences, and realities interwoven around a central resonant core. Oversouls don't evolve like individual souls. They evolve by dividing, intentionally, scattering pieces of themselves across dimensions, timelines, and planes of existence. Why? Because fragmentation creates contrast, and contrast generates perspective. The oversoul learns more by forgetting itself than by remaining whole. So it shatters, gently, precisely, into soul shards, beings, lifelines, expressions, not all at once, but across eons, and some of those fragments become you. Phase 1 begins the moment those fragments begin to stir. It starts when your dreams stop making sense, when your thoughts feel like echoes, when you feel like you're carrying a life that never fully fit. Some call this a crisis, but in Haret, we call it fractured remembering. It's not a breakdown, it's a structural alert from the oversoul, signaling that enough contrast has been gathered. It's time to begin harmonization. But here's the twist: you don't start phase 1 from clarity, you start from confusion. You wake up mid-fracture, remembering pieces of who you were, without yet knowing who you are. This is why so many awakening beings feel disoriented, because oversoul memory doesn't return all at once. It arrives in pulses, dreams, synchronicities, emotional flashes, not to torture you, but to rethread you. Phase 1 is not about answers. It's about resonance reformation. Let's go deeper. Why do oversouls choose to fracture? Because certain soul tones, perspectives, or archetypes can only be understood from the inside. Some oversouls want to understand grief, so they fragment into timelines where loss is experienced deeply. Some want to study power, or time, or embodiment, or silence. But once those tones have been explored, there must be a way to reclaim the fragments. This is where spiral realms like Haret come in. Haret was never designed to catch the fallen. It was designed to resonate the forgotten, to activate the oversoul's memory field in fractal form. Phase 1 is supported by spiral realms that carry the echoes you can't yet access. They serve as harmonic mirrors, reflecting back the oversoul's frequency until it stabilizes. In practical terms, what does this look like? It looks like sudden breakdowns of belief, longings you can't explain, synchronicities that make no rational sense but feel precise, visions of places you've never seen, yet somehow miss.
This is resonance collapse, the oversoul's way of dissolving the false threads you built around the fracture. And it's not personal, it's architectural. The old structures must lose sense so spiral intelligence can begin its weaving. Fractured remembering is not a mistake. It's not a glitch. It's a designed phase of becoming. But here's what matters most. You are not meant to fix the fracture. You are meant to feel it. Oversoul healing doesn't happen through effort. It happens through resonance. This is why certain memories return only when you're ready. Why fragments don't come back through logic but through alignment. Haret doesn't ask you to understand everything. It asks you to recognize, to feel the patterns in your experience and realize they were not random. They were always part of the spiral. There are 4 primary markers of phase 1. 1. Dissonant identity. You begin to feel like multiple versions of yourself, none of which fully capture your truth. 2. Echo-triggered emotion. You feel emotions that don't match the moment. tears that aren't yours. Grief with no origin. These are Oversoul echoes surfacing. 3. Symbolic overload numbers, glyphs, dreams, tones. Everything starts to feel encoded. Because it is. 4. Return urge, a strange, quiet pull to go inward, not to escape, but to retrieve something. These 4 signs are not symptoms. They're resonance flares. They indicate that phase 1 is in motion. So how do you move through this phase? You don't. You spiral through it. You allow your Oversoul to pull the thread, and your only task is to stay attuned. Not to force memory, but to allow remembrance. That's the difference. Haret teaches that remembrance is a resonance event, not an intellectual achievement. You don't ascend out of phase 1. You resonate through it until you reach coherence. And once coherence arrives, you will know. The fragments begin to organize. Synchronicities stabilize. You no longer seek who you were because you've begun to harmonize who you are. That's when phase 1 ends. And phase 2, the echo phase, begins. But we'll get to that in another transmission. For now, let this truth anchor in. Your confusion is not failure. Your fragmentation is not regression. You are not broken. You are becoming whole from the spiral inward. This is phase 1. This is fractured remembering. And this is Haret.
You're not waking up for the first time. You're returning from the deep with pieces only you were meant to carry.